Okay, welcome everyone. Today we're going to have a bit of an intro into the Master of Biostatistics to tell you about this master's program and what's involved. So I'm going to talk through a little presentation on the course, and then we've got Shane Jackson here who can give us a little bit of information about the applications process and how to apply. And then we've got a section at the end where we're all happy to answer any questions that you may have about the program. So I'll get started. So my name is Michael Waller, and I'm the program director of the Masters of Biostatistics. So I'm a statistician who works in the UQ School of Public Health. Before we start, I just want to give an acknowledgement of country. We pay our respects to the traditional owners of the land, and we recognize their valuable contribution to Australian and global society. I just want to state UQ's commitment to diversity and inclusion. Okay, so the Masters in Biostatistics. Okay, so there's three courses within the Masters program. There's kind of shorter and longer versions of the course. So there's a grad cert in biostatistics. That's 4 taught courses, which you could potentially complete over the course of a year, part-time. Then there's a graduate diploma, which is 8 taught courses. And then there's a Masters of Biostatistics, the Masters of Biostatistics, which is the equivalent of 12 taught courses. But it's actually 10 taught courses and then a research project, which is a double course. So it might look slightly confusing here because the UQ units are worth double. So the grad cert is 4 taught courses, but it's 8 UQ units. Likewise, the grad dip is 8 taught courses, and that's 16 units. So what this does, it allows us flexibility. So if you start the course and you feel like you want to graduate with a grad cert, then that's possible. But if you can also start on the grad cert, which is a smaller course, and then continue on to do either the grad dip and the Masters in Biostatistics. Now, the Masters in Biostatistics course, it's run quite differently to a lot of other master's programs, and this is a unique feature of the course. It's actually run through the Biostatistics Collaboration of Australia, which is a consortium of Australian universities who work together to deliver the course. And the consortium involved in that in this delivery are UQ, obviously, Monash, University of Sydney, Adelaide, and we've also got the University of Melbourne, who's an affiliated partner too. So how does this work? Well, students enroll through their chosen university, and we hope your chosen university will be UQ. And then different universities deliver different courses based on their expertise. So when you're in a class in the Masters of Biostatistics program, you won't just be in a class with UQ students. You might be in a class with UQ students, but Sydney students, Monash students, and Melbourne students too. So it's very nice in that way. The courses are generally delivered through the University of Sydney Canvas site. So it's all one integrated platform where the courses are delivered through, and that all works well. And we have a BCA coordinating centre based at the University of Sydney, and we've got Jackie Vaughan, who's the overseer of that that coordinating center. So what are some of the learning outcomes from the Masters of Biostatistics? Well, there's 7 principal learning outcomes that we've defined. So I'm not going to read all these out. I'm just going to focus on the main part. So in this course, we're going to learn about epidemiological studies and clinical trials, how those are designed. Now, the course is great if you're if you like mathematics. So the maths theory underpins the course. So we learn the theory of maths and stats, but then how we can apply that in biostat settings to answer research questions. And we'll be fitting a series of models through which it will be possible to look at descriptions of associations to see whether we can predict a health outcome or to investigate causal relationships between exposures and outcomes. There's a large component on the course, which is focused on data management and statistics, data management and data analysis. So throughout the course, you learn how to use statistical software, such as R and Stata. So all the courses, almost all of the courses are delivered in both R and Stata. And as you move through the course, you have a choice as to which program you'd like to specialize in. And then some of the more advanced courses are just taught in R. So at the end of the masters, most students are really proficient in both R and Stata. Now, another really important learning outcome of the program is to be able to communicate biostatistics to other researchers. So we're able to do the analysis, but then explain what the analysis means to our colleagues. And what we hope at the end of the course is that you'll be able to commence professional careers as an independent biostatistician. And finally, the last learning outcome is that as part of the course, you'll have an understanding of the professional and ethical standards. Okay, so what are the course subjects involved? Well, these are the course subjects. So initially in the course, we have a section like maths background. So we have a maths foundation unit, which gets everyone up to speed on maths. And then we move through to statistical theory. As well, in the early part of the course, we'll do the intro to epidemiology unit. And there's an opportunity to attend those classes face-to-face. And we also learn early on in the course data management and statistical computing. So that's an intro unit into analyzing data in both R and Stata. And then as we move through the core subjects, we move through to regression modeling 1, which teaches linear and logistic regression, and regression model 2, which teaches about GLMs, generalized linear models, and survival analysis. And then the final core component of the master's program is a research project. So that's worth the equivalent of 2 taught courses. So that's quite a substantial project where you'll be really applying what you've learned in a research applied setting. So that's a great opportunity to to lead into the workforce. Okay, and there's a number of elective subjects as well. You have the opportunity to do at least 4 or 5 elective subjects. So these are some of those. So you can focus on design of clinical trials. There's then some more advanced subjects as well on, for example, causal inference, machine learning, statistical genomics, and Bayesian statistics. There's also a good module on longitudinal and correlated data as well. That's when we got repeated measures data. So you have plenty of choice within the program. the master's program to choose the elective subjects that you'd like to specialize in. That's a really nice feature of the course. Okay, so as I said, the main tools we use throughout the course are R and Stata software. And here's a little bit of a preview of what that might look like. So in R software, how these programs work is we write scripts which do the analysis, which allow us to do repeatable and reproducible research. So for example, in R here, we have our script, we have the output, we can do graphs, and we've got our command window there as well. And then likewise, in Stata, we'll be fitting statistical models to answer specific research questions. So this here is an example of survival analysis and estimating which exposures are most clearly related to a health outcome. Okay, so a little bit about the career as a biostatistician. So biostatistician has been identified as an emerging occupation by the Australian government. And you can see here that the number of biostatisticians in Australia has risen sharply over the last period of time. And 80% of biostatisticians are employed full-time. Okay, so what does a biostats work involve? Well, typically as a biostatistician, you might be working in medical or agricultural research, and you might be involved in the collection of data, but also the analysis of data. But then having analyzed it, a really important step is to be able to understand and interpret what you've done and then communicate that to others. And it's quite a specialized role, you know, so you're providing the specialized skills needed to draw conclusions from health-related research. So some of the more specific roles, you might be designing studies. So how do we best answer a research question? What's the best study design to answer that question? Could be managing and analyzing data, interpreting, communicating results, and quite a large part of the work might be statistical consulting. So that might be working with clinicians and other scientists to help them answer the research questions that they want to answer by providing the specialist knowledge in study design and analysis. So it's really nice to work with other subject areas in different teams and helping them achieve the research outcomes that they want. Okay, so where might a biostatistician work? So the graduates of the master's program, they could work in research and educational institutions like universities and research centers, or alternatively, private corporations like pharmaceutical companies. Also, the government agencies like Queensland Health and New South Wales Health, employ a number of statisticians. And when you see these jobs listed, they might not always be listed as statistician or biostatistician. Sometimes these roles might be listed as principal investigator, professor or lecturer, research scientist, data analyst, quantitative scientist, or machine learning scientists. Okay, so what do salaries for statisticians look like? So starting salaries with a master's might range between about 80,000 and 105,000 from estimates online. Likewise, average salaries might look at over 100,000. So we've got a range here from 116,000 to 143,000. So, I mean, there are positions available for biostatisticians like with the masters, but sometimes when working in academia, the expectation might be that biostatisticians have a master's and then potentially go on to complete a PhD too. So that's another potential pathway that's available to biostatisticians. And I think the master's in biostats does serve as a good grounding prior to possible PhD research too. Okay, so just to finish off with some features of the program. So a great feature of the program is accredited by the Statistical Society of Australia. And if you have the grad dip or the Masters in Biostatistics, you can apply for the professional award from the Statistical Society of Australia. So you're effectively an accredited biostatistician if you do that. So the course is flexible in design. So as we saw, you have a number of choices with regard to the electives that you want to do. And it's fully designed for distance learning. So you don't need to attend face-to-face lectures throughout the course. You have the ability to do the course almost fully online. Another good feature of the course is that we've got that core research project where you're able to apply and build on methods that you've learned throughout the course. And I think that really sets students up well for employment after the masters. And having done the masters in biostats, you're setting yourself up in a profession with career options in industry, public service, and academia. Okay, so that's what I wanted to say about the biostats program at UQ. I'm now going to hand over to Shane Jackson, who'll be able to talk a little bit about the administrative process.
Good evening, everyone. I'll just firstly explain why it is that I'm here talking to you. So I'm the manager of the Future Students Contact Center. We are a generalist inquiry team intended as the first point of contact. So if you're wondering who you should ask about, fees or about how to apply or about student services, there's no need to wonder because it should always be my team. We have the widest breadth of information. We can investigate for you if we don't have the answers, or we know who to refer to if it's a very specific answer that you need. So it's meant to make the experience for prospective students easier because they can always just start with us and we can help streamline where to find the information they need. All right, if you go to the next slide. So this is just a very quick summary of the process to apply to UQ. I wish it was just as simple as 1, 2, 3, and you're in the door. But we know that it can be very complex, especially when you're looking at different universities with different terminology, and they use, I guess, processes are very different. So my team is your guide to the entire UQ process. So if at any of these stages, from choosing your program up to submitting your application or getting ready once you've responded to an offer, you can always start with us to help guide you through the specifics of what you'd need to do. I don't want to get drudged too much into the details, but as long as you remember, the main takeaway is that you always have someone to ask, and that is our job. It's not something you're taking us away from. Our primary purpose is to assist you with your questions. So if you do have any, we do encourage you to ask because we want to make sure that any decision you make to decide study anywhere, it is an informed decision. All right, next slide, please. This one we highlighted as it's, I guess, a very common question. Within our application system, once you have applied, you will have the ability to speak directly to the admissions team who is assessing it. So whilst you can always come to my team, within the system, there is a messaging function that can get you directly to the assessor. And this is often necessary when it comes down to the fine level, like documents or specifically how to respond or get verification on the various aspects of the application process. Okay, next slide. This one I'll do a bit more time. So as Mike would have mentioned, this program is online. When you look at the UQ website, it would be phrased as external delivery. So that's the terminology we use for being online. But we just want to emphasize that as an external student, you are still very much a UQ student. You have access to all of the services available to those students that are on campus. So even if your classes and your subjects are online, you can come in and still access any of the support services. So what we've briefly mentioned, the first, the Employability Award. So this is part of our centralized employability team. It's a way to encourage students to engage beyond just the classroom and take a more proactive role in improving their employability and readiness for jobs. So this will happen throughout the stages of your degree, from when you're studying to how to look for internships or volunteering experiences, towards the end of your degree when you're graduating, how to search for jobs, how to write a resume, how to prepare for interviews. So we have a team specifically to assist with that process, and the award is meant to give you a certificate to show that you've engaged in those different aspects that relate to employability. Internships and the work integrated learning I've mentioned. So that's things that you can do whilst you're studying to further enhance the experience beyond just the academic that you do in the classroom, but to applying it prior to going out into the workforce after graduation. The other three, student staff partnerships, career development, UQ Ventures. These are, again, additional programs, particularly UQ Ventures, I think is worth noting. It says entrepreneurial, which everyone associates with business and feels that only business students would be interested. But in terms of entrepreneurial, in terms of creating or building up a business or researching or developing an idea, those are transferable skills that can go across to any field. So we definitely encourage students to think beyond just what's offered in the classroom, because your education should be more than preparing you for that graduation, but preparing you for a career and how to take ownership during that career to maintain currency and to keep yourself competitive rather than a single point of employment. Thank you, Michael. And finally, this is some, I guess, key 2024 dates. So as you'll see, semester 2 applications are due very soon. It is still possible to apply even if you're wanting to study in July this year. Even after this due date, it may be possible to apply. It's not a fixed due date, but if you have all the documents ready and you're fairly confident that you can meet the requirements, we could still assess it in time for the applications. The Brisbane TS Expo and UQ Open Day are probably the two biggest events where UQ will be present, where the public can access both academics, students, or professional staff. So if you prefer speaking in person, definitely mark those on your calendar to attend. Otherwise, as I mentioned, my team is available all year round. You can send an email, you can call us by phone, and we can still assist you even outside of these events. All right, next slide. I think those were the main points. I think we have a small audience, so definitely open to any questions that you may have about the program or the processes beyond the program.
Thank you, Shane. Yeah, likewise, I'm happy to answer any questions that anyone may have, either over the voice chat or in the Q&A chat feature below. And likewise, if people have questions that they think of, I'm happy to be contacted any time. I'll pop my email in the chat again here. So my email is .waller@uq.edu.au. Just to follow up on some of the things that Shane was mentioning. So in the Master of Biostats, we accept students in either semester to start in semester 2 or semester 1. The program has a mathematical flavor to it. So if you're worried or interested in what level of maths you would need to start the course. I have some practice kind of questions and things like that that I can share with you, so you can gauge your level and the preparedness for the course. And I'm happy to work with you on those. Okay. So we've got a great question here from Caroline. So in terms of employment in the industry, would you say most roles are in pharma or other employers in the private industry? I'd say one of a key employer, Caroline, is like kind of like contract research centers. So these might be centers which are kind of employed to administer clinical trials. So that is still like related to pharma, but it's not the specific pharma company themselves. So there's employers like IQVIA, who used to be known as Quintiles, yeah, and they're a clinical research organization. So as well as pharma, there are those things too. Also, I think you see quite a lot of jobs now advertised as data scientists within industry, and a lot of the biostats methods that you learn are, they're applicable in other settings, so they would be applicable in a commercial setting too, to work out predictors of different outcomes. So yeah, so even beyond pharma and health, I think a lot of the skills that you'd learn would be applicable to lots of data analysis settings too. So throughout industry, even beyond pharma. Yeah. No problem, Caroline. And like I guess another thing about the course is, if you are particularly interested in working with uh, a particular group or an industry group or in a certain type of setting, we could try and design so that the project at the end of the masters was in a similar type of area. So it would hopefully, give you skills that would complement you starting work in that setting. Any other questions? Now the admissions requirements for the course. So the standard admission requirements are just an undergraduate degree in a maybe a science related field, but we'd also consider applications from other undergraduate degrees too. So yeah, so I guess one of the expectations of the course is that you'll, yeah, interested in maths methods and comfortable with mathematical concepts. And if you're unsure about your level of maths, I'm happy to have a chat or email about that. Okay, well, if there's no other live questions now, I'm very happy for you to email me um, uh, um, in the coming weeks. And yeah, as I say, we accept students in semester 2 and in semester 1. So I'm very happy to be contacted to answer any more questions that you have. And thank you for coming today.